Show you a quick introduction to the Starry Landscape Stacker application. This is the way it starts up. It's asking for some image files to read. I'm going to come over here and select 3 TIFF images in this directory. I'm using Command-click to extend the selection. Say Open. And what it's doing now is it's reading in the 3 image files, and it's trying to find things that it thinks are stars in the image. It uses the stars as a hint as to where the sky is. And down here, it's found a highlight on the ground that's mistaken for a star, and we're going to have to clean that up. You can have the same sort of problem if you have, say, waterfall, highlights on a waterfall, or buildings, or street lights, or cars. They might be lights on the ground that are mistaken for stars, and you might have to clean those up. Before I show you how to do that, though, I'd like to show you some of the things you can do with Starry Landscape Stacker to look at your images. First thing you can do is, of course, zoom in. Look at the actual pixels. And we can do that with the button and also with the Z key. We can adjust the brightness, try and make the details of the image a little bit more visible if we have to, and adjust the contrast. We can hide the overlay. In this case, it's showing us stars in the overlay. We can use the O key to toggle that as well. And we can vary the opacity of the overlay. We'll leave it there for now. And finally, we can step through all the images. Right now, we're looking at the composite image, which is produced by averaging all of the input images. But we can step through the images with these buttons, the previous and next buttons, and also with the forward and back arrow keys. Let's zoom in to this image, the composite image we're looking at right now. Go up to the upper right corner, and what we see here is the stars look blurry. If we step back to one of the input images, we'll see that the stars look sharp. But this image is noisier than the composite image, the average of the images. What we're going to do as we step through the process here with Starry Landscape Stacker is line up the stars so that they are sharp and leave this effect of having a lower noise as a result of averaging. The stars are blurred because the stars have moved between these 3 exposures. And what we have to do is move the stars around to line them up. So let's work our way through the process. Let's zoom back out, and we're going to remove this red dot. Let's switch to removing the red dots. I can click on that, and of course I can undo it, redo it. The other thing I would like to do at this point is fill in some more stars to hint at where the sky is. When you have an image with particularly dark areas where it can't find any stars, or where it's just difficult to know what's sky and what's ground, you can help Starry Landscape Stacker out by painting in some red dots, saying, pretend that this is a star here and that we're at sky here. This is particularly important, say, up here where there's not a lot of stars visible in the sky because it's very dark, and the ground is also very dark as well, so it's very hard to tell sky from ground. Okay, that looks good enough, so let's click on Find Sky, and it's going to go out and try and cut a mask that separates sky from ground. In some images it does a very good job and you don't have to clean it up at all, but this image is particularly difficult and you do have to clean it up a bit. So here we have a blob of stars sticking out into the sky that's not painted blue. So we're set up here to paint blue. We got the blue circle here, blue paintbrush. We're just going to click on it there, and that bit of stars or sky is now marked as sky. We're going to work our way across the edge here. There's a formation in the rock here that was particularly unusual. I'm going to switch to painting ground by hitting the G key, and let's toggle the overlay on and off to get an idea of what we're looking at. I'm pretty sure what we want to do is say that that's ground. And over here there's some more cleanup to be done. I'm using the square brackets to reduce the size of the brush and turn the overlay back on. So we want to go something like that. We need a smaller brush some more, and in like that. In your own images you can spend time as you need to clean things up. I'm just going to jump up over here to where it's particularly difficult. I'm just going to paint fairly aggressively here, cutting into the sky a bit. So I'm painting on painting ground or removing sky on areas which I know are sky. I'm going a little bit into the sky. And that's okay in this case because there's no stars there. So there's no stars to align. If we have sort of the opposite effect of having, say, sky, I'm going to hit the S key to switch to painting sky. Say we have this opposite effect here where we have ground painted as sky. That's very bad because when Starry Landscape Stacker goes to align the stars in the sky, it's going to move things around, and it's going to move the ground around and blur it, and we don't want that to happen. So let's undo that. And we're painting sky, so let's just tidy up a little bit here. Switch to a very large brush. Zoom back out. I'm just going to run around the edges, tidying them up. It's not unusual. You have to clean up the edges a little bit. Let's increase the opacity and have a quick look to see if we see any obvious flaws or any holes in the middle. That looks good. So I'm going to say align and save. So now anywhere we have painted blue, so we have the sky mask, anywhere in that area, Starry Landscape Stacker is going to take the 3 images and shift them around to line up the stars, and then it's going to recomposite the image. When it's done, it's going to offer to save the image. So let's change this to test, and it has this option here that I have checked, and I recommend you keep it checked, that it also saves a copy of the image with the sky mask. And what this lets you do is import both the whole image and just the sky into another photo editor such as Photoshop and make changes, final adjustments to the sky separately from the ground. And that is very convenient, and there's a video showing you how to do that. Of course, there's already a file here called test.tiff, and so I'm going to replace it. The sky is saved into, in this case, test-sky. It appends a -sky to the file name when it's putting the sky in it. Okay, so here's a final image. We're done, but just for fun, let's zoom in, zoom back up to this corner that we'd looked at before, and this is the composite image. This is what we've saved out. You can see that this star is nice and sharp now. We can go back to one of the original images, and it's about the same in terms of sharpness, but the noise, it's much lower in the composite image. So we've achieved our 2 goals. We have our stars as sharp points, and we have reduced the noise. So we've achieved our goals, and we're done.